Rain hammered against the Winchester Grand Hotel windows like bullets seeking entry. Inside the ballroom, crystal chandeliers scattered light across marble floors slick as ice. Rosa Moretti clutched her father's arm, her simple black dress feeling like a costume in this palace of excess. Her wire-rimmed glasses fogged slightly in the warm air, thick with expensive perfume and whispered deals. "Papa, I don't belong here." Francesco Moretti's weathered hand tightened on hers. The hand that had built an empire. The hand stained with secrets she pretended not to know. "You belong wherever I say you belong, Philia. Tonight, we secure our family's future." Rosa's stomach twisted. She understood what that meant. Her father's construction empire had legitimate fronts, but shadows held corpses. When Nathaniel Winchester descended the marble staircase, the crowd parted like water around a shark. His Italian silk suit fit perfectly. His blue eyes swept the room with practiced boredom until they landed on her. The nervous woman beside Francesco Moretti, dark hair pulled back too tight, eyes that looked haunted. "Nathaniel Winchester," Francesco said, extending his hand. "Allow me to introduce my daughter, Rosa." Nathaniel barely glanced at her. His gaze slid past her face like she was furniture. "Moretti, I trust tonight's agreement will be mutually beneficial." Rosa felt the dismissal like a physical blow. Heat crept up her neck. "Perhaps you'd honor my daughter with a dance," Francesco suggested. It wasn't a suggestion. The orchestra began a slow waltz. Nathaniel extended his hand with visible reluctance. Like touching something distasteful, Rosa took it because refusing would embarrass her father in front of people who could destroy their family with a phone call. On the dance floor, her nervousness made her stumble. Nathaniel's irritation radiated off him in waves of barely contained contempt. "Relax. You're making this harder than it needs to be." "I told you I don't dance," Rosa replied. Cheeks burning around them, couples glided effortlessly. Nathaniel caught sight of Cassandra. Vale laughing with his business partner, elegant, perfect, everything. Rosa wasn't. When Rosa stepped on his foot for the second time, Nathaniel's patience shattered. "Maybe we should call it a night." The music ended. He stepped back immediately, putting an ocean of distance between them. That's when Cassandra appeared, smile sharp as a blade. "Oh my," she said, loud enough for others to hear. "That looked challenging, Nathaniel. You're such a gentleman to take on such a difficult partner." Rosa felt the words slice deep, but she lifted her chin with quiet dignity. "Some people are naturally graceful, and others have to work much harder. Thank you for the reminder." She turned to leave, but Francesco caught her arm. His grip was gentle. His eyes held a warning that made her blood freeze. "We're not done here, Philia. The Winchesters and the Morettis have business to discuss. Business that concerns you directly." Rosa's stomach dropped. She knew that look in her father's eyes. She'd seen it before, right before someone disappeared. 3 days later, Rosa sat in her father's study. Mahogany bookcases surrounded her like prison walls. Morning sun cast long shadows across contracts spread on Francesco's desk. "You can't be serious, Papa." Her voice cracked despite her efforts to stay composed. Francesco poured himself whiskey. His movements were deliberate. Calm. The calm before executions. "The Winchester merger isn't just about business, Rosa. It's about survival. Our competitors in Chicago are moving against us. They've already taken out the Bernardis and the Russos." Rousseau's hands trembled as she read the marriage contract. Her name printed in elegant script next to Nathaniel Winchester's. Like they were just another acquisition. There has to be another way. There is no other way. Francesco's voice carried the weight of finality. "The Winchesters get legitimacy through our European connections. We get protection under their legal empire. Perfect for everyone except me." Her father's expression softened for just a moment. The briefest crack in his armor. "You think I want this? You're my only child, my precious daughter. But sometimes we sacrifice what we want for what we need." Rage simmering beneath his carefully controlled exterior. The Moretti girl is plain. Mother. She's awkward, nervous, and completely wrong for someone in my position. Helena Winchester sat behind her glass desk like an ice queen on her throne. Silver hair, pulled back in a severe bun. She's also the daughter of the most powerful man in the construction industry. Francesco Moretti controls union contracts, city permits, and has connections that reach into every major development project on the East. Costa won't marry someone. Don't love for the sake of business. Alina's laugh was sharp as breaking glass. Love? You sound like a child, Nathaniel. Love is a luxury we can't afford. The Koreans are trying to break into our hotel markets. The Germans are undercutting our European properties. We need the Morettis. What about Cassandra? Cassandra Vale is beautiful and empty, perfect for appearances, terrible for alliances. The Moretti girl brings power, real power. Nathaniel stared out at the city. His city. The empire he'd built himself? The wedding will be at the Winchester estate. Intimate ceremony. We'll announce it as a love match to the press. 2 weeks later, Rosa sat across from Nathaniel in a sterile conference room in the Winchester Tower. Their parents flanked them like chess pieces, positioned for checkmate. Nathaniel wouldn't look at her. His jaw was clenched so tight she could see the muscle jumping. We need to establish ground rules, he said, voice flat. This is a business arrangement. Nothing more. Rosa lifted her chin, meeting his cold blue eyes with steel in her own. Believe me, Mr. Winchester, I have no illusions about what this is. You've made your feelings perfectly clear. For the first time, Nathaniel actually looked at her. Really looked. Something flickered in his eyes. Surprise, maybe. Or respect. Good. Then we understand each other. Perfectly, Rosa said. I'll play the dutiful wife in public. In private, we live separate lives. Lena smiled like a cat with cream. Wonderful. The wedding is in 4 weeks. I've already selected your dress, Rosa. Vera Wong. You'll look almost acceptable. Rosa's hands clenched under the table, but she kept her face blank. As they left the conference room, Nathaniel caught her arm. His touch burned even through her sleeve. For what it's worth, he said quietly, I'm sorry you're being forced into this too. Rosa pulled away. Save your pity. Mr. Winchester, I don't need it. She walked away, spine straight, head high. Behind her, Nathaniel watched her go, an unfamiliar feeling stirring in his chest. Respect. The Winchester estate sprawled across 10 acres of manicured perfection. The dress was beautiful. It felt like a shroud. You look lovely, Felia, Francesco said from the doorway. Rosa's eyes met his in the mirror. I look like a sacrifice. Sometimes that's the same thing. The ceremony was intimate. 50 guests. Champagne like liquid gold. Rosa walked down an aisle of white roses, each step feeling like walking to her execution. Nathaniel stood at the altar in a black tuxedo, face carved from marble. When she reached him, his eyes held nothing. No warmth. No recognition. Nothing. Do you, Nathaniel James Winchester, take this woman to be your lawfully wedded wife? I do. His voice was mechanical, rehearsed. Do you, Rosa Marie Moretti, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband? Rosa's throat closed. For one wild moment, she wanted to run, to scream, to tear off this beautiful prison and flee. Adieu. The lie tasted like ash dot when Nathaniel kissed her. It was brief, cold, a business transaction sealed with the barest brush of lips. The reception was torture. Rosa smiled until her face hurt. Accepted congratulations from people who looked through her like glass. Cassandra Vale watched from across the room. Champagne flute held like a dagger. Quite the Cinderella story, Cassandra purred when she cornered Rosa by the champagne fountain. Though I suppose every prince needs a charity case. Rosa's fingers tightened on her glass. Is there something you want, Miss Vale? Just to offer some advice. Wife to almost wife. Cassandra's smile was poison. Nathaniel gets bored easily. Don't expect this to last. Before Rosa could respond, Nathaniel appeared at her elbow. Cassandra, shouldn't you be networking with the investors? Cassandra's expression flickered, just for a second. Then the mask returned. Course. Congratulations, darling. Her eyes locked on Rosa. I'm sure you'll be very happy. When she left, Rosa exhaled shakily. You didn't have to do that. She was being cruel, Nathaniel said flatly. I don't tolerate cruelty at my events. Just at your wedding? Nathaniel's jaw tightened. That's different. How? He didn't answer. Instead, he offered his arm. Time for the first dance. Try not to break my foot this time. Rosa took his arm because she had no choice. On the dance floor, under crystal lights and the weight of 50 pairs of eyes, Nathaniel pulled her close. His hand settled on her waist. Professional, distant. The orchestra played something slow and haunting. God, you were right, Rosa said quietly. I can't dance. Then follow my lead. He guided her through the steps with mechanical precision. Rosa focused on not stumbling, on keeping her face blank, on surviving this moment. Why do you wear those glasses? Nathaniel asked suddenly. Rosa blinked. What? The glasses? You don't need them. I saw your medical records. 20/20 vision. Heat crept up her neck. They make me feel safe. From what? From people seeing too much? Nathaniel was quiet for a moment. When he spoke, his voice was different. Softer. I understand that. Really looked. For the first time, she saw past the cold exterior to something underneath. Something wounded. What are you hiding from, Mr. Winchester? His expression shuddered immediately. It's Nathaniel now. We're married. That doesn't make us less strangers. The song ended. Nathaniel stepped back. Our flight to Italy leaves at 8 tomorrow. Pack light. We'll be gone 2 weeks. Honeymoon? Rosa's voice dripped with sarcasm. Business trip. The Milan hotel needs my attention. You'll accompany me for appearances? Of course. Heaven forbid anyone think this marriage is what it actually is. Nathaniel's eyes flashed. And what is it, Rosa? A cage. She met his gaze steadily. For both of us, something shifted in his expression. Surprise again. And something else. Something dangerous. The penthouse is ready, he said finally. Top floor. Your things have been moved to the east wing. I'm in the west. We'll share common areas when necessary. How romantic. This isn't a romance, Rosa agreed quietly. It's a tragedy. She walked away, leaving Nathaniel standing alone on the dance floor. That night, Rosa stood in her new bedroom. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Central Park. The bed was enormous, empty, cold. She removed her wedding dress carefully, hanging it in a closet the size of her old apartment. Stared at her reflection in a stranger's mirror. A knock on the door made her jump. Come in. Nathaniel entered, still in his tuxedo. He'd removed the jacket, loosened his tie. He looked almost human. Wanted to make sure you had everything you needed. I'm fine, Rosa. He said her name like it hurt. I know this isn't what either of us wanted. Then why are you here? Because you're my wife now. Whether we like it or not? Rosa laughed bitterly. Your wife. The awkward, plain girl you could barely stand to dance with. Nathaniel flinched. I never called you ugly. You didn't have to. Your face said it all. Silence stretched between them like broken glass. I was cruel, Nathaniel said finally. At the gala, you didn't deserve that. Rosa's breath caught. She hadn't expected an apology. Why? Why was I cruel? Yes. Nathaniel moved to the window, staring out at the city lights. His reflection ghosted in the glass. Because you looked terrified. And I've spent my entire life around people who are never afraid. Never vulnerable. Never real. Turned to face her. It made me angry. That you could be so honest about your fear when I have to hide everything. Rosa's heart stuttered. That's the most honest thing you've ever said to me. Don't get used to it. But when he smiled, it was almost genuine. Rosa. Good night, Nathaniel. After he left, Rosa stood in the darkness, feeling the first crack in the ice between them. The next morning, they flew to Milan in the Winchester private jet. Rosa had never been on a private plane before. She tried not to stare at the leather seats, the full bar. The bedroom in the back. Nathaniel worked on his laptop, ignoring her. "Can I ask you something?" Rosa said after an hour of silence. Nathaniel didn't look up. "If you must, why do you hate your mother?" His fingers stilled on the keyboard. Slowly, he closed the laptop. "What makes you think I hate her?" "The way you look at her. Like she's a predator and you're always calculating escape routes." Nathaniel's laugh was harsh. "Perceptive. So I'm right. My mother destroyed my father. Systematically. Deliberately." His voice was flat, clinical. He loved her. She used that love to control him. When he finally tried to leave, she crushed him, took everything, left him with nothing but shame and a bottle of pills. Rosa's breath caught. "Nathaniel, I'm sorry. He killed himself when I was 16. She told everyone it was a heart attack." Nathaniel's eyes were chips of ice. "I've spent 12 years building an empire she can't touch, can't control. But she always finds a way in. Through me," Rosa whispered. "Through you." The words hung between them like a verdict. "I won't be her weapon against you," Rosa said fiercely. "I don't care what she wants. I won't do it." Nathaniel stared at her. Really stared. Like he was seeing her for the first time. "Why would you do that?" "You don't even know me. 'Cause I know what it's like to be used by the people who should protect you." Understanding passed between them. Silent. Heavy. "Your father." Nathaniel said, "My father." Rosa's hands clenched in her lap. "He loves me. I know he does. But he loves his empire more. Then we're the same." "Yes." For the first time, Rosa saw past Nathaniel's armor. Saw the scared 16-year-old boy who lost his father. The man who built walls so high nothing could hurt him. The plane hit turbulence. Rosa gasped, gripping her armrest. Nathaniel's hand covered hers. Warm, solid, real. "It's just turbulence. We're safe." Rosa looked down at their joined hands. Her heart hammered. "Thank you." But not before she saw the confusion in his eyes. They landed in Milan as the sun set, painting the sky blood-red dot in their hotel suite. 2 bedrooms with a shared living space. Rosa stood on the balcony overlooking the Duomo. The cathedral glowed in the dying light. Beautiful and ancient and sad. "It's breathtaking," she whispered. Nathaniel joined her on the balcony. Close enough that she could feel his warmth. "I used to come here with my father, before." His voice was rough. He said Milan proved that even broken things could be beautiful. Rosa turned to him. Nathaniel's face was unguarded. Vulnerable. "You miss him." "Every day." Without thinking, Rosa reached for his hand. Nathaniel didn't pull away. They stood together as darkness fell over Milan. 2 broken people learning how to breathe in the same cage. But in the shadows of their hotel room, Rosa's phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "Ask your husband about the Singapore deal. Ask him what he did to the Chen family. Then ask yourself who you really married." Rosa's blood ran cold. Rosa stared at the text message until the screen went dark. Her hands trembled. "Ask your husband about the Singapore deal." Across the suite, Nathaniel emerged from his bedroom in casual clothes. Jeans, a simple black shirt. He looked younger. Almost approachable. "There's a restaurant near the cathedral. Best carbonara in Milan. Want to go?" Rosa slipped her phone into her pocket. Sure, but the message burned in her mind like acid. Milan at night was magic. Cobblestone streets. Warm light spilling from cafe windows. Nathaniel walked beside her, close but not touching, pointing out landmarks. "That's where Da Vinci painted The Last Supper. That cafe has been there since 1824. My father proposed to my mother on that bridge, before she destroyed him," Rosa said quietly. Nathaniel's jaw tightened. Before he realized what she was, at the restaurant, they sat in a corner booth. Candlelight flickered between them. Nathaniel ordered in perfect Italian, his voice smooth and confident. "You speak Italian?" Rosa asked. "My father taught me. He said knowing languages meant knowing people." Sounds like he was kind. He was. Nathaniel's expression softened. Weak, maybe. Too trusting. but kind. The pasta arrived. Rosa took a bite and closed her eyes. This is incredible. When she opened her eyes, Nathaniel was watching her. Something warm? You're different here, he said. What do you mean? In New York, you hide. Behind glasses, behind silence. He leaned forward. Here, you're just you. Rosa's heart stuttered. Maybe it's easier to be yourself when no one knows who you are. I'm starting to know who you are. The words hung between them, heavy with meaning. Rosa's phone buzzed in her pocket. She ignored it. Tell me about the Singapore deal, she heard herself say. Nathaniel went still. The warmth in his eyes vanished, replaced by ice. Who told you about Singapore? Does it matter? Yes, his voice was steel. It matters. Rosa pulled out her phone. Showed him the text. Nathaniel's face went white, then red, then blank. We're leaving. Nathaniel, wait. Now he threw money on the table and stalked out. Rosa followed, her stomach twisting. In their suite, Nathaniel paced like a caged animal. His control was fracturing. Rosa could see the cracks. Tell me what happened in Singapore. No, why? Because you'll look at me the way everyone else does. Like I'm a monster. Rosa moved closer. Try me. Nathaniel stopped pacing. His eyes met hers, haunted, desperate. The Chen family owned a hotel chain in Southeast Asia, Prime Properties. They refused to sell. His voice was flat, clinical. So I destroyed them. Found evidence of tax fraud. Leaked it to the authorities. Their patriarch went to prison. Their daughter killed herself. Rosa's breath stopped. Nathaniel, she was 19. Art student. Nothing to do with the business. His hands shook. I knew what would happen when I leaked those documents. I knew her father would go to prison. I knew it would destroy their family. I did it anyway. Silence filled the room like poison. Why? Rosa whispered. Because I wanted their hotels. Because winning mattered more than anything else. Because I'm my mother's son. Nathaniel's laugh was broken. The patriarch died in prison 6 months later. The daughter's suicide note said, I killed her father. Rosa sank onto the couch. Her mind spun. You're telling me the truth? Yes. Why? Because you asked. Because you deserve to know who you married. Nathaniel moved to the window. The text is from her brother, David Chen. He's been following me for 3 years. Waiting for his chance. Chance to do what? Destroy me the way I destroyed his family. Rosa's phone buzzed again. Another text. Does your wife know about Cassandra? About what you did 3 nights before the wedding? Rosa's blood went cold. What is he talking about? Nathaniel closed his eyes. Rosa, what did you do? I slept with Cassandra. 3 nights before our wedding. The words hit Rosa like a physical blow. She stood, backing away. You what? I was angry, trapped. I wanted to hurt everyone forcing me into this marriage. Nathaniel's voice cracked. So I called Cassandra. Spent the night with her. It meant nothing. It means everything. Rosa's voice shook. You talk about your mother using people? About being a monster. You're right. You are Rosa? Please, don't. She held up her hand. Don't say my name. Don't touch me. Don't pretend this is anything but what it is. Tears burned her eyes. She refused to let them fall. I was starting to believe you were more than the cold bastard who humiliated me at that gala. I was starting to see someone real, someone hurt, someone worth knowing. Rosa laughed bitterly. But you're just like everyone else. You use people. Walk away. That's not fair. Fair. Rosa's voice rose. You want to talk about fair? I was sold into this marriage, forced to play dress up as your wife while you fuck your ex-girlfriend 3 days before the wedding. Tell me what's fair about any of this. Nathaniel flinched like she'd struck him. None of this is fair. I want to go home. Rosa, I want to go home now. The flight back to New York was silent. Nathaniel tried to speak once. Rosa turned away, staring out the window at clouds that looked like funeral shrouds. At the penthouse, Rosa went straight to her room, locked the door, sat on the floor with her back against it, and finally let herself cry. Hours later, a soft knock. "Rosa, please, let me explain." "There's nothing to explain. I made a mistake. You made a choice." Rosa's voice was raw. "You always have a choice. You chose to hurt me before you even knew me." Silence. Then Nathaniel's voice, so quiet she almost didn't hear it. "You're right. I'm sorry." Rosa laughed through her tears. "Sorry doesn't fix this." "I know." She heard him walk away, heard his door close, sat in the darkness, and wondered how something that barely started could hurt so much when it shattered. The next morning, Rosa found an envelope slipped under her door. "This is the key to my father's apartment in Brooklyn. The only place I feel safe. It's yours now, if you need somewhere to go. I won't come there. I won't follow you. You deserve a cage you can open yourself. In." Rosa held the key in her palm. It was warm from where Nathaniel had been holding it. She should throw it away. Should pack her things and run to her father. Should end this farce of a marriage. Instead, she put the key in her pocket. That afternoon, Rosa went to Brooklyn. The apartment was in an old building with creaky stairs and peeling paint. Nothing like the Winchester penthouse. Inside it was small, cozy, books everywhere. Photos on the walls of a man who looked like Nathaniel but softer, happier, his father. Rosa sank onto the worn couch. It smelled like old coffee and safety. Her phone rang. Francesco. "How is married life?" Rosa's throat closed. "Fine, Papa. You sound sad. I'm just tired." Rosa thought of Nathaniel's confession, his betrayal. The key in her pocket. "Yes, Papa." A silence. Then Francesco's voice, heavy with meaning. "Good, because we need them, Rosa. The Chicago families are making moves. We lost the Bernardis last week. Found in the river." Rosa's blood ran cold. "Papa, this marriage keeps you safe. Keeps us all safe." Francesco's voice hardened. "Don't do anything to jeopardize it. Understand?" "I understand." After she hung up, Rosa stared at the photos on the wall. Nathaniel as a boy, laughing with his father. Before the betrayal, before the death, before he learned to be cold, she understood now. Nathaniel wasn't born a monster. He was made into one. Shaped by his mother's cruelty and his father's weakness and the weight of expectations that crushed. Everything soft inside him, just like Rosa was being. Shaped, molded, broken into something useful. Her phone buzzed. A text from Nathaniel. "Found David Chen. He's planning something. Something that will hurt both our families. We need to talk." Rosa stared at the message. She should ignore it. Should let Nathaniel drown in the consequences of his actions. But Francesco's words echoed in her mind. "This marriage keeps you safe. Keeps us all safe." Rosa typed back. "I'm at your father's apartment. If you want to talk, come here." 20 minutes later, Nathaniel arrived. He looked like he hadn't slept. His suit was rumpled. His eyes were red. "Thank you for letting me explain." "Not letting you explain because I forgive you," Rosa said coldly. "I'm letting you explain because my father says people are dying. If this affects my family, I need to know." Nathaniel flinched, but he nodded. "David Chen has been gathering evidence, not just on me, on both our families. Your father's construction deals, the bodies, the offshore accounts." He moved to the window. "He's going to the FBI. When he does, everything comes down." Rosa's mind raced. "When?" 3 days. Maybe less. What do we do?" "We." Nathaniel turned to face her. Hope flickered in his eyes. "Don't mistake this for forgiveness," Rosa said sharply. "This is survival. That's all." The hope died. "Right. Of course. So what do we do?" Rosa repeated. Nathaniel pulled out his phone. Showed her a photo. David Chen, outside a federal building. Whatever it takes. Rosa looked at the photo. Saw a young man with his sister's eyes. A man who'd lost everything to Nathaniel's ambition. He's not wrong, you know. About you. About us, I know. Then how can we stop him? Nathaniel's expression hardened into something cold. Calculated. The monster Rosa was starting to understand he hated being. The same way I've stopped everyone else. We destroy him first. Rosa's stomach turned. Nathaniel, you want to protect your family? This is how. His voice was steel. We find his weaknesses. Exploit them. Nathaniel laughed bitterly. Justice doesn't exist in our world, Rosa. Only survival. Rosa looked at this man she'd married. Saw the scared boy underneath. Saw the monster he'd become. Saw herself reflected in his eyes, standing at the same crossroads. She could walk away. Let it all burn. Escape with whatever innocence she had left. Or she could step into the darkness with him. Tell me the plan, she said quietly. Nathaniel's eyes widened. Rosa, tell me the plan before I change my mind. And as Nathaniel laid out his strategy, Rosa felt something inside her shift. Crack. Begin to harden into something she didn't recognize. She was becoming what she'd always feared. But Francisco's words echoed. Sometimes we sacrifice what we want for what we need. Rosa was sacrificing her soul. The question was whether it was worth it. David Chen lived in a cramped apartment in Queens. Rosa and Nathaniel sat in a black Mercedes across the street, watching his window. Rain drummed against the roof. He has a routine, Nathaniel said, checking his watch. Leaves for the gym at 6. We have 40 minutes to get in, find the evidence, and get out.
Ow.
Rosa's hands were clammy. This is breaking and entering. This is survival. It's also becoming exactly what he says we are. Nathaniel turned to her. His eyes were hard. We're already what he says we are, Rosa. We just hide it better. The words stung because they were true. At 6 sharp, David Chen emerged in gym clothes. Rosa and Nathaniel waited until he rounded the corner, then moved. Nathaniel picked the lock in 30 seconds. Inside, the apartment was sparse. Neat. A desk covered in files and photographs. Photographs of Rosa and Nathaniel. Of Francesco. Helena. Of bodies in rivers and offshore accounts and deals made in shadows. He has everything, Rosa whispered. Nathaniel was already at the computer. Fingers flying over the keyboard, not for long.
Hey.
Rosa moved to the desk. Opened files. Read evidence of her father's crimes in black and white. Bodies, extortion, corruption, everything. Tended not to know, laid bare. Her hands shook. Nathaniel. These files prove my father is a murderer. I know. You knew? Of course I knew. Nathaniel didn't look up from the computer. Why do you think my mother wanted this alliance? Your father's connections. His willingness to do what's necessary. Rosa felt sick. And you married me anyway. I didn't have a choice. We always have a choice. Nathaniel's fingers stilled. Fine. I chose to destroy the Chen family for their hotels. Your father chose to kill the Bernardis for their territory. My mother chose to drive my father to suicide for control. We're all monsters, Rosa. Every single one of us. I'm not a monster. Then why are you here? Why are you helping me destroy evidence? Why are you protecting a murderer? Nathaniel's voice was sharp. Because you're his daughter? Because family matters more than justice? Rosa's throat closed. Don't. Face it, Rosa. You're as complicit as the rest of us. Keep telling yourself that. Rosa grabbed a file, opened it, found photos of a woman, young, beautiful, dead. Who is this? Nathaniel's face went white. That's David Chen's sister, May. Rosa stared at the photo. The girl had kind eyes, a soft smile. She looked like she'd never hurt anyone in her life. She killed herself because of you. Yes, she was innocent. Yes, Rosa's hands trembled. How do you live with yourself? I don't. Nathaniel's voice cracked. I haven't had a good night's sleep in 3 years. I see her face every time I close my eyes. I hear her brother's screams at her funeral. I know exactly what I am. Then why are we here? Why are we doing this? Because the alternative is prison for your father. Destruction for both our families. Death, probably. Nathaniel moved closer. I'm not asking you to forgive me, Rosa. I'm asking you to survive. Rosa looked at Mei Chen's photograph, then at the files documenting her father's crimes, then at Nathaniel, this man who'd become her partner in darkness. I hate you, she whispered. I know. I hate what you've made me. I know that. 2. Footsteps in the hallway. Heavy. Multiple. People. Nathaniel froze. That's not David. The door burst open. Federal agents. Guns drawn, hands where we can see them. Now, Rosa's heart stopped. Nathaniel raised his hand slowly. We're leaving. This is a misunderstanding. Step away from the computer, Mr. Winchester. They knew who he was. This was a trap. The lead agent smiled coldly. David Chen made a deal. Full immunity in exchange for testimony against both your families. You're both under arrest. Rosa's mind raced. Her father. The charges, prison, everything crashing down. Wait. Nathaniel's voice was steady. To steady. I have information you want. Information about Helena Winchester's offshore accounts, about Senator Morrison's real estate deals, about judges who take bribes from the Moretti family. The agent's eyes flickered with interest. Keep talking. Not here. Not like this. Nathaniel glanced at Rosa. Let her go. She doesn't know anything. I'll tell you everything. Give you everyone. Rosa's breath caught. Nathaniel, no. She's my wife. She's innocent. The hell I am, Rosa said fiercely. We're both here. We both broke in. If he goes down, I go down. The agent smiled. Touching. But you're both coming with us. That's when the window shattered. Francesco Moretti stood on the fire escape, gun in hand. Behind him, 4 of his men. Step away from my daughter. The agents reached for their weapons. Francesco's men were faster. Gunshots. Screaming, blood on the walls. Rosa dove behind the desk. Nathaniel covered her body with his own. When the shooting stopped, 2 agents were down. The 3rd was on his knees, hands behind his head. Francesco climbed through the window. His suit was immaculate. His gun was steady. Papa. Rosa's voice shook. Francesco looked at Nathaniel. Both of you killed federal agents, Nathaniel said. Protected my family. Now we leave. All of us, Papa. We can't just run. Don't run, Felia. We disappear. Francesco nodded to his men. Clean this. Make it look like Chen did it. Plant evidence of conspiracy against the FBI. You're framing David Chen for killing federal agents? Rosa's stomach turned. David Chen should have stayed in Singapore. Francesco's eyes were cold. Now he'll spend his life in prison for crimes we committed. It's evil. That's survival. Francesco grabbed Rosa's arm, pulled her toward the door. Let go of me, Rosa. I said let go. Francesco's grip tightened. You don't get to have principles now. You made your choice when you helped your husband break into this apartment. Own it. Rosa looked at her father. Really saw the monster clearly for the first time. I hate you. Francesco's expression softened for just a moment. I know, but you're alive. That's all that matters. Francesco's men disposed of evidence, planted false trails. By morning, the news reported a tragic shootout. Federal agents killed in an ambush. David Chen, primary suspect, in custody. Rosa sat in the penthouse bathroom, hands shaking. Blood on her clothes, not hers. An agent's. A man had died protecting her. No. A man had died because Francesco Moretti decided his daughter's freedom mattered more than justice. Nathaniel knocked softly. Rosa, go away. Please. Let me in. Rosa opened the door. Nathaniel stood there, cleaned up. The blood was gone, but the guilt in his eyes remained. "This is my fault," he said. "If I hadn't destroyed the Chen family, none of this would have happened. If my father weren't a murderer, none of this would have happened. We're both drowning in our family's sins." Rosa laughed bitterly. "No, we're not drowning. We're swimming. We're complicit. We're everything David Chen said we were." Nathaniel moved closer. Close enough that Rosa could feel his warmth. "Then let's be monsters together." "What?" "We can't undo what happened. Can't bring back Mei Chen or those agents. Can't change who our families are." His voice was raw. "But we can choose each other. Make this marriage real. Stand together instead of alone." Rosa stared at him. "You want me to forgive you? After everything?" "No. I want you to survive with me. Split the burden." Nathaniel's hand cupped her face gently. "I'm not asking for love, Rosa. I'm asking for partnership. Alliance. Two broken people making something that works." Rosa closed her eyes. Felt tears slip down her cheeks. "I don't know if I can." Already damned. What's left to lose? Rosa opened her eyes. Looked at this man who'd humiliated her, betrayed her, protected her, offered her honesty when everyone else gave lies. "Everything," she whispered. "We have everything left to lose. Then let's lose it together." Nathaniel leaned in, kissed her softly. Not like their wedding kiss. Not cold or mechanical. This was desperate, raw. Real. Rosa kissed him back, tasting salt and regret and something that felt dangerously like hope. When they pulled apart, Nathaniel rested his forehead against hers. "I'm sorry for what I did with Cassandra. I'm sorry for Singapore. I'm sorry for all of it, I know. Can you forgive me?" Rosa thought about Mei Chen, about the dead agents, about her father's crimes and her own complicity. "I don't know, but I can try." That night, they sat together on the penthouse couch, not in separate wings. Together, Rosa's head on Nathaniel's shoulder, his arm around her waist. "Tell me about your father," Rosa said quietly. "The real him, not the weak man your mother describes." Nathaniel was quiet for a long time. When he spoke, his voice was soft. He collected old books. First editions. He'd spend hours in this tiny bookshop in Brooklyn, just browsing. "He taught me that power means nothing if you can't protect the people you love." He sounds wonderful. Until my mother convinced him he was weak, pathetic. Nothing. Nathaniel's voice hardened. "She killed him with words long before he took those pills." "I'm sorry, me too." They sat in silence. Outside, New York glittered like broken glass. "What happens now?" Rosa asked. "Now we play the game. Smile for the cameras. Protect our families. Pretend we're happy. And in private." Nathaniel looked down at her. His eyes held something new, something vulnerable. "In private, maybe we figure out how to actually be happy." Despite everything, Rosa wanted to believe him. Wanted to believe happiness was possible in this cage they'd built together. But in the shadows of her mind, David Chen's face haunted her. A man framed for crimes he didn't commit. A man who'd already lost everything, too. Nathaniel's ambition. Justice didn't exist in their world, only survival. And the question Rosa couldn't answer, was surviving worth losing your soul? Her phone buzzed. A text from an unknown number. "You think you've won? You're going to wish you'd let me destroy you. Because what's coming is so much worse." Rosa's blood ran cold. David Chen wasn't finished, and neither were they. The text came at 3 a.m. Rosa was awake, staring at the ceiling while Nathaniel slept beside her. They'd started sharing a bed a week ago. Not for passion, for comfort. Two people, too afraid to be alone with their demons. She read the message. Read it again. Her heart stopped. "I have proof Helena Winchester ordered the hit on my father. Not tax fraud, murder. And I'm releasing it tomorrow. Your husband's mother is going to prison. Unless you stop me." Rosa shook Nathaniel awake. "What? What's wrong?" She showed him the message. Watched the color drain from his face. My mother killed his father. That's what he's saying. Nathaniel sat up, ran his hands through his hair. For a moment, he looked lost. Young, broken. I knew she was capable of terrible things. But murder? What do we do? Nathaniel's expression hardened, the mask sliding back into place. We stop him. Like we always do, Nathaniel? No, what choice do we have? Rosa grabbed his face, forced him to look at her. We have every choice. We can let your mother face justice. Let her pay for what she's done. She's still my mother. She destroyed your father, drove him to suicide, made you into someone you hate. Rosa's voice cracked. When does it end? When do we stop protecting monsters? Nathaniel pulled away, stood, paced. If she goes to prison, the Winchester Empire collapses. Everything I've built, then let it collapse. You don't understand what you're asking. I understand perfectly. Rosa stood too. I'm asking you to choose. Between power and humanity? Between survival and your soul? It's easy for you to say. Your father isn't the one going to prison. No, but he should be. The words tasted like ash. My father is a murderer, Nathaniel. He killed those agents. He's probably killed dozens of others. And I've protected him. Made excuses. Looked away, Rosa. I'm done. Her voice was steady, final. I'm done being complicit. Done sacrificing people like David Chen and Mei Chen and those agents so my family can stay powerful. What are you saying? I'm saying we let David Chen release his evidence. All of it. Your mother's crimes. My father's crimes. Everything. Nathaniel stared at her like she'd lost her mind. That destroys both our families. Good, Rosa. Think about what you're saying. I've thought about it. For weeks. Every time I close my eyes, I see Mei Chen's face. Those agents' blood. David Chen sitting in prison for crimes we committed. Tears streamed down Rosa's face. I can't do this anymore. Can't be this person. What person? A monster. Rosa's voice broke. I'm becoming just like my father, just like your mother. Cold, calculating, willing to destroy anyone who threatens us. Nathaniel's expression crumbled. He moved to her, pulled her into his arms. You're not a monster, as I am. We both are. Then what do we do? Rosa pulled back, looked up at him, and we do the right thing. Finally, we contact David Chen. Tell him to release everything. Then we testify against our own families. Nathaniel's face went white. That's suicide. Maybe, but at least we'll be able to sleep at night. They'll kill us. Your father. My mother. Both of them, probably. Rosa's smile was sad. But we'll die as humans. Not monsters. Nathaniel stared at her for a long moment. She saw the war raging behind his eyes. Power versus principle. Survival versus soul. Finally, he nodded. Okay. Let's do the right thing. His voice was rough. Even if it kills us. Rosa kissed him. They contacted David Chen at dawn. Met him in a coffee shop in Brooklyn. He arrived with a recording device and eyes full of hate. Why should I trust you? Because we're turning ourselves in, Nathaniel said. With our families. David laughed bitterly. You expect me to believe that? Rosa pulled out her phone. Showed him texts from her father. Evidence of murders, bribes, corruption. I'm testifying against my own father. Nathaniel is testifying against his mother. We're giving you everything. David's expression flickered. Surprise, confusion, suspicion. Why? Because you were right, Nathaniel said quietly. About all of it. I destroyed your family for greed. My mother destroyed yours for power. We're everything you said we were, and now you want redemption? No. Rosa's voice was steady. We want to stop being monsters. Redemption is more than we deserve. David stared at them, at these two people who'd destroyed his life, who were now offering themselves on a pyre. My sister killed herself because of you. I know, Nathaniel said. I'm sorry. doesn't begin to cover it. Nothing I do will bring her back. But maybe stopping other people from being hurt is a start? Silence stretched between them, heavy, painful. What about witness protection? David finally asked. Your families will come after you. Let them, Rosa said. You're willing to die for this. We're willing to try to be better than we were. David studied them, saw something in their eyes. Truth, maybe, or just exhaustion with lies. Okay, I'll work with the FBI. But if you're lying, if this is some trap, it's not, Nathaniel said. I swear on my father's grave. The next week was chaos. FBI raids, arrests. Headlines screaming betrayal. Francesco Moretti dragged from his office in handcuffs. Helena Winchester removed from the Winchester board. Both families declared Rosa and Nathaniel traitors. Dead to them, Rosa sat in a safe house, watching the news. Her father's face, cold with rage as they led him away. She felt hollow, empty, free. Nathaniel found her staring at the television. Any regrets? Hundreds, but none about this. He sat beside her, took her hand. My mother's lawyers are already trying to make a deal. Your father's too. We gave the FBI everything. There's no deal to make, Cassandra called. She wanted to know if I needed anything. Rosa tensed. What did you tell her? That I have everything I need. Nathaniel squeezed her hand. That I have you. Rosa's throat closed. You don't have to say that. I'm not saying it because I have to. I'm saying it because it's true. He turned to face her. I fell in love with you, Rosa. Somewhere between the hatred and the darkness and the blood. I fell in love with the woman who refused to be a monster. I'm still a monster. Just one trying to be better. Then we'll be better together. Rosa kissed him. Tasted salt and hope and something that felt like redemption. The trials took 6 months. Rosa testified against her father. Watched him sit stoic and silent as she described murders, bribes, corruption. Francesco Moretti never looked at her, never spoke. But as they led him away to serve 25 to life, he mouthed 2 words, I understand. Rosa broke down sobbing in the courthouse bathroom. Nathaniel testified against his mother with clinical precision, listed her crimes like a business report. Helena Winchester watched him with cold fury. When the jury returned guilty on all counts, she finally spoke. You're just like your father, weak. Nathaniel smiled sadly. Helena got 30 years. Francesco got 25. David Chen's father was posthumously exonerated. His sister's death was ruled a result of criminal conspiracy. It wasn't enough. It would never be enough. But it was something Rosa and Nathaniel entered witness protection. New names. New life. They moved to a small town in Montana. Opened a bookstore. The kind of place Nathaniel's father would have loved. First editions. Worn paperbacks. Coffee that tasted like home. On their first anniversary, Rosa found Nathaniel arranging books in the window display. She wrapped her arms around him from behind. Happy anniversary, he turned. Kissed her softly. Happy anniversary, Mrs. Parker? Parker. Their new last name. A fresh start. Do you miss it? Rosa asked. The power? The money. New York. Nathaniel looked around the bookstore. At the cracked floorboards and the ancient cash register and the shelves full of stories about other people's lives. Not even a little liar. He laughed. Okay, sometimes. But then I look at you and remember who I was. Who I was becoming, and I don't miss it at all. Rosa kissed him. I love you. I love you too. Even though you destroyed my empire and sent my mother to prison, especially because of that, they laughed together. Real laughter. The kind that comes from people who've been to hell and chose to walk out. A customer entered. David Chen. They'd stayed in touch, slowly, carefully, building something like forgiveness, David. Rosa smiled. What brings you here? I'm in town for a conference. Thought I'd stop by. He looked around. Nice place. It's small, Nathaniel said, but it's ours. David nodded, picked up a first edition of The Count of Monte Cristo. Appropriate? How so? Rosa asked. It's about revenge and redemption, and figuring out which one matters more. Nathaniel met David's eyes. Which one did you choose? David's smile was sad, but coming here helps. They talked for an hour. About books, about healing, about the long, hard work of becoming better than their worst moments. When David left, Rosa and Nathaniel stood in the doorway, watching him walk away. Do you think he'll ever really forgive us? Rosa asked. No, but maybe that's not the point. Then what is? Nathaniel pulled her close. The point is we're trying. We're choosing to be better every single day. That's all anyone can do. That night, they lay in bed in their small apartment above the bookstore. Rain drummed against the windows. His heart beat steady beneath her ear. Tell me something true, she whispered. I was terrified the night we met. Terrified of being trapped. Terrified of losing control, and now I'm terrified of losing you, of going back to who I was, of forgetting what it feels like to be human. Rosa lifted her head, looked at him in the darkness. We're not going back, promise. Promise. They held each other as rain turned to snow. Two broken people who'd found something like peace in the ruins of their old lives. It wasn't a fairy tale ending. There was no magic, no grand gesture, just two people choosing each other, choosing better, choosing to live with their scars instead of creating new ones. In the morning, Rosa woke to find Nathaniel already downstairs, opening the bookstore. She watched him through the window, this man who'd called her ugly, who'd betrayed her, who'd nearly destroyed her, this man who'd learned to be kind. She joined him in the store. They worked side by side, helping customers, recommending books, living a quiet life far from the darkness they'd escaped. And in the quiet moments between customers, Nathaniel would catch Rosa's eye, smile, reach for her hand. They were monsters who'd learned to be human. That was enough. That was everything. Years later, when people asked how they met, Rosa and Nathaniel would exchange a look. A shared secret. Called me ugly at a party. Rosa would say she married me anyway, Nathaniel would add. And then we destroyed our families and entered witness protection. The usual love story. They'd laugh. It's about choosing someone even when they're broken. Especially when they're broken. It's about building something good from the wreckage of something terrible. It's about redemption earned one day at a time. On their 5th anniversary, Rosa found a package on the bookstore counter. Inside, a photo. Mei Chen, smiling, young, alive, happy, and a note. Thank you for giving her justice. It doesn't bring her back, but it helps, David. Rosa showed Nathaniel. They stood together, staring at the photo of the girl whose death had changed everything. We can never make this right, Rosa said quietly. No, but we can keep trying. They put the photo on the bookstore wall. A reminder, a promise, a memorial. Every day they looked at it. Every day they chose to be better. Some wounds never heal. Some sins can't be forgiven. But Rosa and Nathaniel learned that. Redemption isn't about erasing the past. It's about facing it, owning it, choosing every single day to be more than your worst moment. They'd been monsters. They'd done terrible things. They'd hurt innocent people. But they'd also chosen truth over power, justice over survival, love over fear, and in the end, that choice made all the difference. Rosa stood in the bookstore as snow fell outside. Nathaniel's arms around her. A life built on honesty instead of lies, on love instead of obligation. She'd been forced into a marriage with a man who called her ugly. But she'd found a partnership with someone who saw her clearly, and that was more beautiful than any fairy tale. The end.